Let's go to Doug now.
He's a very tough young man, 112 pounds, undefeated this year, because Munson of Des Moines was very good wrestler, and it was a terrific victory to get that second championship. Well, we're going to stay with the 2As, we said, through the 125-pound class, the first 4 weights before we go to the 3As, and so here we are at 125. Andy Thompson of Clear Lake, undefeated, going against Jesse Zobeck of Cresco, the famous wrestling town in central Iowa, northeast Iowa. Cresco, Crestwood. Jesse Zobeck against Andy Thompson.
Number 1 versus number 2. Andy Thompson, ranked number 1, 37-0 from Clear Lake, coached by Gary Weber. And number 2, Jesse Zobeck, 37-2 from Cresco, coached by Keith Carmen.
He's in the blue. Nice shot by Andy Thompson, but he couldn't get the takedown. Thompson, that man right there, is undefeated.
There's Keith Carmen on the right. These guys met before. You know what it went to?
What?
Overtime this year. The only loss. The only loss that Zobeck has from Cresco was an overtime 3-1 loss to Andy Thompson earlier in the year. So here we go again. Number 1 versus number 2.
Well, you can see there are 2 different physical types. Sometimes you don't see it quite so much in high school as you do in a little older, and in the tour even more. But it's a rangy Andy Thompson in the black uniform on the left, the black singlet. And Jesse Zobeck, a little stockier in the blue on the right.
Well, they've both run around the block. Thompson was 4th as a freshman, 6th as a sophomore, and 3rd as a junior. Here he is making a statement. He said, you know, what was your biggest accomplishment as a wrestler? You just heard me say he was 4th, 6th, and 3rd, and he said, getting through the semifinals. You know, and he, last night, the first time he's won on Friday night. Now look at that, single leg, through the hips, takedown.
You might have called it a high crotch start, but it was only just a nice head outside single. He just reached and got the leg and took it with him. And he leads 2-1 now after the escape. 2-1 in favor of Andy Thompson with about 38 seconds to go in the first period. Thompson from Clear Lake, Jesse Zobeck from Cresco Crestwood, both Northern Iowa schools.
Last year they met, and it was switched around. Zobeck won against Thompson, so they're 1-1 in career. And this is the rubber match right here. We got a great Clear Lake cheering section behind us, and they really have it going in Clear Lake. Gary Weber as the coach, great crowd support. You go to a dual meet there, and the gym's rocking.
Did you mention that Thompson got to the finals with 3 pins? Andy Thompson, 244, 542, and 138. He cradled Nick Kilberg of Grinnell in 1:38 in the semifinals. So he stormed into the finals this year, trying to cap an undefeated season. That's Andy. Jesse Zobeck had 3 decisions, but none of them were close in the final score. He beat Mike Elliott of Mount Vernon, another senior, to get into the championship round. Jesse Zobeck. So it means a lot to both of them. This is their last chance.
It sure does. Gary Weber, the coach of Andy Thompson, said he's never been flat. He always is prepared and ready to go. 12-month-a-year wrestler, and he's a school record holder in pins, wins, and takedowns.
In the 1A match with 1.5 minutes to go in the second period, it's 1-0 in favor of Tom Fitzer of Wilton, whose team is going for the championship. He's the Wilton man in the finals. He's one of 2 Wilton men in the finals. His team is in 4th place, and he has to win to give his team a chance.
That's right.
He's 1-0 over Chris Wernimont of Pocahontas. At 3A, it's Solomon Hughes of Muscatine, trailing Kentral Galloway of undefeated from West Waterloo East, 8-0 with 1 minute and about 12 seconds to go in the second period. So it's a big rush here for Kentral Galloway of Waterloo East, coached by Steve Nipp at 3A. Here it's 2-2 now. 2-2.
There's Keith Carmen again. Great story. 1980 state champion for Cresco. So he's back at his alma mater as the coach now, trying to get a state champion individual all the way home here in his wrestler.
Thompson tried that
Jesse
shock again, but Zobeck's a little bit too well set for that. He wasn't going anywhere. And they come back to the center with less than 1 minute to go in a very active first period. 2-2 between these 2 old rivals. Two-on-one tie-up, the Russian tie-up. That's become very popular, hasn't it, Tim? That two-on-one setup by an offensive maneuver. So somebody on top. 30 seconds to go. It is the second period. The clock was not showing the first period is over, but it is. It's actually the second period here, as you know, I'm sure.
As we look at 2-2 here, I've talked about the Clear Lake program there, and it's always great to see tradition go and be carried on. But Clear Lake broke the school record for wins this year, and they were conference champs.
Zobeck has the leg. Can he keep it? They were sparring very well out there. Zobeck has a knack for staying in front of his man. You know, he doesn't let Thompson get around him, even though Thompson has a lot of reach.
There's Gary Weber right there, head coach.
Third period, 2-2.
Sometimes we talk about not getting be able to get kids out. He's got 41 kids out for the program. Good, strong leadership from assistant coaches Mike Rysack and Eric Perry.
All right, Zobeck has one warning, and Thompson has the 1-point escape, and he leads 3-2.
In single A up there in the corner, number 1 ranked Chris Wernimont is
here comes Thompson
behind,
and he gets a takedown and goes up by 3, 5-2. That's an important one because it makes a 3-point lead and not a 2.
Tom Fitzer from Wilton leading 6-0 with a minute left in the entire match in 1A right there, trying to keep Wilton in the hunt for a chance.
Zobeck is out. He's down by 2 with a minute and 20 to go. He needs a takedown to tie. Zobeck in the blue from Crestwood against Andy Thompson.
In 3A, no doubt, 13-1. Kentral Galloway from Waterloo East ahead of Solomon Hughes from Muscatine. Going to have an undefeated record if nothing goes wrong. He's got 1 period to go, but he's up 13-1.
Certainly hasn't been going wrong at this meet. He's looked good all the way. Zobeck trying to go under again with that high crotch fireman carry position, but even though he has an upper arm in a nice tight lock, he's not been able to control the leg.
There's the last takedown right here by Andy Thompson to put him up 5-3.
45 seconds. Now he's in on a low single.
Zobeck is.
But Thompson's too long. Well, he brought it in. Looks like Zobeck's got a chance here, but he needs 2 points to tie.
He's got to keep bringing it in there. He's got to get his hips under, bring it up. He can't sit. They're going to call it a stalemate.
So now he has 27 seconds to go.
Gene Luttrell, the referee, gives it a stalemate sign, and they go back
outside. Not making it. 20 seconds to go. The man in blue needs 2 points to tie. Tries a headlock. Well, he just had to try it, and Thompson goes up by 4. 7-3 now for Andy Thompson of Clear Lake. He's beginning to look like he's going to end this season undefeated. Lets his man go. 7-3, 7-4.
Tom Fitzer wins there up in 1A for his coach Steve Shirt.
And here, Andy Thompson wins after an undefeated season, a championship for Clear Lake. And his coach, Gary Weber. He beat a terrific wrestler, Jesse Zobeck of Crestwood. Let's go to 3A because we still have about a minute to go over here.
No, it's over. Tech Fall, 19-2. There's the first one we've seen tonight, Tech Fall. You don't see many of those in the state finals. No. Kentral Galloway, East Waterloo, caps an undefeated season going 33-0.
That happens at Tech Fall. When
Pfizer of Wilton, he decisioned and dominated the match over Chris Wernimont of Pocahontas, decisioning him 8-1. Dick.
Beating AAA, Kentral Galloway of East Waterloo had no trouble as he eliminated Solomon Hughes of Muscatine in a technical decision by 50 points or more with 57 seconds left in the match. That's a 125-pound state champ in Class 3A. Doug?
Dick, thank you, Dick and Dean. If the sound truck hasn't come through your neighborhood in the last 10 minutes to tell you, let me tell you right now that you're watching the Iowa High School Wrestling Championships, 125 1A.
125-pound awards. Assistant coach Denny Bourne, also the wrestler's uncle of Wilton. 6th place, Robert Swope, Oakland Riverside. 5th place, Casey Conover, Holstein Galva-Holstein. 4th place, Matt Pruin, Mason City Newman. 3rd place, Adam Seaman, Woodward Granger. Runner-up, Chris Wernimont, Pocahontas area. And the 125 1A champion from Wilton, Tom Fitzer.
Attaboy, Tom. Tom Fitzer, he was #1 ranked throughout the year, and he's the champion. I'd like to see Dan McCool come through with his predictions, you know, from the Register. He follows the sports. Makes a lot of those ratings as the year goes on. 1A, now 2A. By the way, we were just looking at Tim and Cole Pape, the young man from Makokata, 9 losses, a learning year. He's a freshman. How about that?
Coach Gary
I only
Weber,
remember-
Clear Lake.
Well, we'll talk about in a second.
Let's go to 2A
Sixth
here.
place, Mike Elliott, Mount Vernon. Fifth place, Keith Pearl, West Liberty. Fourth place, Nick Kilberg, Grinnell. Third place, Shane Heinold, Clarinda. Runner-up, Jesse Zobeck, Cresco Crestwood. And the Class 2A 125-pound champion from Clear Lake, Andy Thompson.
Andy Thompson, undefeated year, a championship for Clear Lake. A lot of fun when you're on that top lung, as we say. Okay, now we have the AAAs to show you. AAA championships. The top 6 places at 125 pounds.
Presenting the Class 3A 125-pound awards, Coach Johnny Galloway, who's the assistant coach and also the wrestler's father. Sixth place, Tom Aaron, Sport Dodge. Fifth place, David Brown, Lamar's. Fourth place, Chris Keller, Indianola. Third place, Ryan Heim, Dubuque Hempstead. Runner-up, Solomon Hughes, Muscatine. And the Class 3A 125-pound champion from Waterloo East, Kentral Galloway.
Terrific year for Kentral Galloway, undefeated and a champion at 125 pounds in 3A. Let's go to Dick Trotter for a floor report. Dick?
In 130-pound Class 2A, you don't expect it.